Modern social life often feels like an endless scroll of messages and missed connections. Many people believe that cold approaching is walking up to someone you don't know and starting a conversation, is outdated, even inappropriate. The rise of dating apps and social media has made people believe that human interaction should be filtered, curated, and scheduled. They argue that it's safer, easier, and more convenient to swipe right than to walk up to someone in public. But despite these beliefs, science and social dynamics prove otherwise. Cold approaching still works, and in fact, it's one of the most underused and effective ways to build real human connection with a woman. But before moving forward, I am a dating coach, and I have taught countless men on how to approach a woman in public. So let's start with the conflict. In today's world, many people feel anxious or even ashamed about starting conversations with strangers. It's seen as socially awkward, inappropriate, or even risky. Cultural narratives suggest that if you're not already friends, or if it's not mediated by technology, it must be wrong to approach. But what if these ideas are completely false? What if the real problem isn't cold approaching, but our assumptions about how others will react? Behavioral research consistently shows that people are much more receptive to social interaction than we assume. In a study published in the journal Psychological Science, researchers asked commuters in Chicago to strike up conversations with strangers on trains and buses. The commuters expected it to be uncomfortable or unwanted, but when they actually did it, nearly every interaction went positively. In fact, people who talked to strangers reported significantly higher levels of happiness than those who kept to themselves. This happened across the board, even among introverts. This finding isn't isolated. In multiple studies, people were asked to make small talk with strangers in coffee shops, on planes, or while waiting in lines. And again, the results were the same. Not only did the initiators feel happier after the interaction, but the strangers they spoke to did too. One such study found that people consistently underestimate how much others will enjoy their company. This psychological phenomenon is known as pluralistic ignorance, the mistaken belief that your interest in connecting isn't shared by others, when in reality, most people are open to connection. Let's zoom out and look globally. Across cultures, friendly interaction with strangers is a basic human behavior. Whether it's in Tokyo, New York, Nairobi, or Buenos Aires, small social exchanges, complimenting someone, offering help, making casual conversation are universal bonding strategies. The specific customs vary, but the impulse is the same. Cold approaching is not just a pickup tactic. It's a natural extension of human sociability. It taps into our primal wiring for face-to-face interaction, eye contact, voice tone, and mutual presence. All of these things are missing from online interactions. Social psychologists have documented the powerful effects of weak ties, that is, our casual acquaintances, brief encounters, or one-off conversations. In a famous study by sociologist Mark Granovetter called The Strength of Weak Ties, researchers found that weak ties are often more valuable than strong ones. People frequently found new job opportunities, critical life information, life partners, or important introductions not through best friends, but through the casual, cold connections that happen spontaneously. That person you talk to on the street, they might introduce you to your next big opportunity. Cold approaching builds those ties. It expands your network, and it enriches your life in unpredictable ways. And in the dating aspect of cold approaching is also as good as other aspects of cold approaching, because it all works the same way. That is building human connections. And by that, I have created a free guide on top tactics to approach a woman in public. The link is in the description. Okay, so if you are still not convinced on this idea of cold approaching, then let's look at cold approaching through the lens of mental health. In a 2014 study, participants were randomly assigned to talk to strangers during their daily commute. Many feared that the stranger would reject or ignore them, but almost none did. In fact, strangers were grateful for the interaction. Participants reported higher levels of well-being, a stronger sense of belonging, and a better overall mood. The researchers concluded that friendly conversations with strangers can significantly improve quality of life, a finding supported by follow-up studies at universities in Canada, Germany, and Japan. One underappreciated truth here is that people are lonelier than ever. The World Health Organization has called loneliness a growing global epidemic. In the UK, they even appointed a minister of loneliness. In the US, studies report that nearly half of adults feel isolated or disconnected on a regular basis. So why are we afraid to talk to each other? The need for connection has never been greater, and yet the act of connecting has never felt more stigmatized. Cold approaching isn't the problem. It's part of the solution. What makes cold approaching effective isn't slick lines or confidence hacks. It's genuine curiosity and basic humanity. A simple, sincere compliment, a light question about their day, a thoughtful observation. These things work not because they're strategic, but because they remind us that we're human, that we still crave attention, recognition, and warmth from people we don't yet know. And ironically, that's something most of us aren't getting from apps. If we continue to outsource all social interaction to algorithms, we will lose our ability to relate spontaneously. We will miss out on serendipity, nuance, and the thrill of unpredictability. Cold approaching preserves that human spontaneity. And when done with respect and self-awareness, it's not creepy, it's courageous. Now let's talk about the emotional reward. When someone cold approaches you and it goes well, you remember it. Cuts through the noise of your day, feels alive, you are seen. And when you are the one who reaches out, you feel braver, more grounded, and more connected to the world. That's something no app can give you, and that's the emotional proof. Real-life moments of connection are rare, powerful, and worth pursuing. So what's the new perspective here? It's this: cold approaching is not about seduction or pickup. It's about restoring social trust in a disconnected world. Every time you say hello, ask a question, or share a smile, you fight isolation. You help rebuild community. You remind someone, and yourself, that we're still social animals, that we want to be seen, that courage is contagious. In conclusion, cold approaching still works because we still work that way. Our biology, our psychology, and our sociology all confirm that we are built for real-world connection. The world may have changed, but the human heart hasn't. So the next time you wonder whether it's worth saying hi to that person across the room or in line behind you, remember the science, remember the stories, and remember that one small act of reaching out can change everything. If you find this video useful, do check out our free approach tactics guide to find your future partner.